Hello, everyone. Welcome to the betting edition of the Baseball Insiders, the betting insiders, if you will. It is myself, Ian McMillan, and Peter Dewey back to talk some more baseball betting. As you might be able to tell, for the second time in a couple weeks, I'm reporting live from the fan-sided office here. So I don't have my normal setup. I'm going to be kind of working against it today, but that's okay. We'll get through it. We're going to talk the Rangers. We're going to talk the Astros. Weekend 4-game series. We are recording this a little bit earlier than we normally would, so unfortunately no betting odds available for any of the 4 games. We have expected pitching matchups, but not confirmed. So if we talk a pitching matchup that doesn't actually end up happening, don't blame us. We're recording well over 24 hours before the first game on Friday night, but hopefully the expected pitchers are correct. And at the very least, hopefully we can hit some bets. Now, Peter, you bounced back last time we talked Dodgers Astros. You finally bounced back after a few tough shows. You went 2-1, I believe, correct?
Yes, big 2-1. Very much needed. Was sweating the first game, but the Dodgers ended up coming through in the fourth to give us a first 5 win. So that was fun. But yeah, much needed wins for sure.
Yeah, you picked up the slack because I went 1-2. So losing week for me last time we were talking Astros Dodgers, winning week for Peter. Today, Adam and Robert, I believe, are going live at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you tuned in when you saw that we went live expecting to see their faces, I believe you'll see them later on today at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. No show on Monday for them, by the way. I'm assuming because it is July 4th weekend. I'll be going back to Canada this weekend. Peter, July 4th is the United States like national holiday. Do you know what day is Canada Day?
Is it the 5th? Isn't it like the day after?
It's a couple days before. It's July 1st. Unbelievable. I'm offended that you didn't get that correct, but you were kind of close, I guess.
I remember one of these last 2 years, I remember you taking it off for Canada Day and telling me, and now I'm mad at myself that I forgot. So that's on me.
So Canada Day for us has fallen on a Saturday, so it should be a fun day on Saturday in Halifax is where I will be at. Before we jump into this series between the Astros and the Rangers, obviously a pivotal series in the AL West, let's get through a quick ad read here. DraftKings Sportsbook, MLB fans, have you signed up for DraftKings yet? If you're a new user, you can receive $150 in bonus bets instantly after following just 3 steps. Step number 1, create an account. Step number 2, deposit. And then step number 3, wager just $5 on any sport. Whether your first wager wins or loses, you will still receive the $150 in bonus bets. All you have to do is use the code BASEBALLINSIDER. I believe if you're watching this on YouTube, it is right down there in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Baseball Insider, no space, no S at the end. Just a singular Baseball Insider when you sign up. The best part is using our code Baseball Insider not only gets you the bonus, but it also supports this podcast. So if you're considering signing up for DraftKings, do it now. Use our code Baseball Insider. Maximize your first bets. Go ahead and bet on our picks, fade our picks, whatever you want to do. If it wins or loses, it does not matter. You get $150 in bonus bets. Regardless, this offer is available for new customers who are 21 plus and physically present in legal gambling states. Please remember to always gamble responsibly and check the episode description for the full terms of the offer. All right, let's talk Astros. Let's talk Rangers. Peter, why don't you take the Astros? Give us a little series overview for the Astros, and then I can talk Rangers, and then we'll dive into our picks for the 4 games.
Yeah, Astros coming into the series 6 games back. They're in second place in the NL West of these Rangers. So could be a pivotal series, kind of switch things around here. They pick up a 4-game sweep, immediately going to be just 2 games out. Unlikely that happens, but it's not off the table. But the big thing for the Astros this year, they've just been killed by injuries, especially in the rotation. Jose Urquidy, Lance McCullers, and Luis Garcia are all out of the rotation right now with injuries. Garcia is done for the year. He had Tommy John. And they also don't have 2 of their better hitters in the lineup, Michael Brantley and Yordan Alvarez, both currently on the injured list. But it's shocking because despite all the rotation injuries, they're second in Major League Baseball in ERA this season. So the pitching's still been great. They lost Justin Verlander in the offseason, still been able to replace him. Hunter Brown's been great for them. We'll talk about him a little bit later in the show. And they're 7th in Major League Baseball in bullpen ERA. So not maybe the same dominant Astros that we've seen in years past, but still a quality team, still a potential playoff team for sure. And like I said, they could completely flip the AL West with a big series in this weekend.
Yeah, for sure, especially with it being a 4-game series. Now, with the Rangers, the story of the Rangers this whole season has been their offense, the best offense in all of Major League Baseball, highest scoring offense in all of baseball. Now, I have no concern. I think they can, maybe they'll regress a little bit offensively, but what I'm a little bit more concerned about is their pitching. Jacob deGrom, obviously the biggest offseason acquisition, out for the year now with Tommy John. The rest of their rotation, guys who you could make the argument are overperforming, especially guys like Dane Dunning. Can he keep up the strong start to his season? If they can, if the rotation keep things together, the Rangers might end up being the top seed in the American League. If not, things, especially the division race, are going to get interesting down the stretch. They do have a 6-game lead on the Astros in the division heading into this series. So this is a pivotal series for both teams. And the Rangers are at home, which is huge for them because they have been elite at home this season, 26-14. So we got a little battle at Texas this weekend. It's going to be a good one. Not many people expected the Rangers to be leading, especially by this much, the AL West at this point of the season. I personally placed a bet before the season started on the Rangers to make the playoffs. I think it was at almost 2-1. I think it was plus 175. That's looking fantastic now because they are now minus 450 to make the MLB postseason. Astros still favored to make the postseason at minus 200. But if you look at AL West odds specifically, Astros underdogs at plus 180 to make a comeback. Rangers at minus 140. So if you think the Astros can win this series, might be a good time to jump on them to win the division at plus 180. Pretty good plus money odds there. The World Series odds almost identical for these two teams. Astros 10-1, Rangers 11-1. So Astros still just a touch ahead of the Rangers in odds to win the World Series, but that could flip pretty quick. So let's get into these games, Peter. It is a 4-game series, so we got a lot to get through here. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we don't have odds as of recording the show. I will refresh DraftKings Sportsbook one last time to see if the odds have appeared for tomorrow's game before we talk about it. I don't think so, though.
Yeah,
no, still not available. So we're going to do our best and see if we can predict what the odds are going to be. I believe for the first game, the projected pitching matchup is John Gray for the Rangers going up against Ronel Blanco for the Astros. That's the projected pitching matchup. So based off that, Peter, what's your pick for game 1 on Friday, 8:05 p.m. Eastern opening pitch?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Rangers to win this game. I think they got a significant pitching advantage here. Blanco has obviously become a part of this rotation because of the injuries for the Astros. He hasn't been great this year. He's got a 6.84 FIP over his last 4 starts, all coming this month. I expect the regression for him to continue, even though his ERA is a little bit lower than that against the number 2 OPS offense in baseball, number 1 scoring offense in all of baseball. And you just look at some of Blanco's advanced numbers. He's 18th percentile in expected ERA, 9th percentile in barrel percentage against the season. He does draw a lot of swing and miss. He's 93rd percentile in whiff percentage, but I just don't think that's going to matter enough. You look at what John Gray's done over his last 8 starts. He's allowed 1 or fewer runs in 7 of those outings. Granted, he did give up 6 against your Blue Jays, Ian. So shout out to the Blue Jays for getting to him. But John Gray, 89th percentile in chase rate this season, 78th percentile in hard hit percentage, 67th percentile in barrel percentage. He's pitched very well. Teams are not getting a lot of hard contact against him. I just think at the end of the day, the Astros have a very good pitching staff, very good bullpen, but this is the guy. If you're going to fade them, it's probably when Blanco's on the mound. So I'm going to do it here. I'm going to take the Rangers at home, where, as you mentioned, they've been dominant all season.
Yeah, I'm going to fade Blanco as well, but how I'm going to do it is I'm going to bet on the total because I don't necessarily trust John Gray either. 2.89 ERA, but a 4.32 FIP, field independent pitching, so we might see a little bit of regression from him. But yeah, let's talk Blanco here. As you mentioned, 5.76 FIP, 1.514 WHIP. But what I think is the most important mismatch here is he's giving up 2.9 home runs per 9 innings. That's not good. That's a lot of power that that the Rangers can hit against them. A lot of home runs. That's going to lead to a lot of runs. So I'm just going to go ahead and take the over. Let's predict what the total is going to be set at this game. I would say probably 8.5. I think would be a reasonable total for this game. Maybe 9.5 at the highest. Regardless, as long as it's still in the single digits, I will take the over. If it gets to the double digits, maybe I'd stay away, but I don't think it's going to get up there. So give me the over in game one between the Astros and the Rangers. And in a game that I assume the Rangers are going to be favored in this game, at least by a decent price, I would assume as well. I would guess maybe the minus 130, minus 135 range if it's this pitching matchup.
Yeah, I think the Rangers will be I'd assume the Rangers would be favored in this game, especially at home. But I think I do agree with you. I think the total 8.5 is a fair enough total, especially with the Astros bullpen. I don't think it gets up to 9. I think 8. I would say 8.5 on the total, and I'd assume Rangers got to be favored in this one.
I've switched over my microphone. I'm having some microphone issues. Do I sound any better now, Peter?
Yes, you are good.
Okay. All right, let's move on to game 2. It is Saturday. It is a little bit of an afternoon matchup at 4:05 p.m. Eastern. Hunter Brown against Nathan Eovaldi is the projected matchup. And this one, Peter, you are betting on the total in this one. Which way are you going?
Yeah, so I think in this spot, game 2, I like the under here. I think this might be the best pitching matchup of the series in terms of two strong starters going against each other. I really like what Hunter Brown's done this year. He's got a 3.62 ERA, coming off of 6 innings of 1-run ball against the Dodgers. Pitched very well in that game. And I also think this is a bounce back spot for Eovaldi. The Rangers have lost his last 3 starts, but he hasn't pitched poorly in really any of them. He's made 16 starts this year, only 3 of them where he's allowed 4 or more runs. So pretty solid floor for him. He's got a 2.82 ERA, a 3.08 FIP. I just think that at some point, I think this total probably ends up being 8, maybe 8.5, but I would say 8. I think the under's the play here. If it gets the Astros bullpen, they're 7th in bullpen ERA. So I wouldn't be shocked if they're able to slow down Texas a little bit. I just think the Rangers offense, I'm kind of waiting for. I know you talked about it. They have a lot of good bats. I think there's at some point they're going to regress a little bit. But I think this pitching matchup is too good to take anything but the under here. I don't want to pick a side because I believe in both pitchers. I think it's a safer bet to go under.
Well, if you're not going to pick a side, I will pick a side, and I'm going to go with the Astros, who I'm assuming are probably going to be underdogs in this one. So a little underdog bet here on Saturday. What's interesting when I look at these two pitchers is that both of them are actually significantly better on the road this season. Eovaldi has a 3-2 record and a 3.46 ERA at home, but 6-1 with a 2.44 ERA on the road. Hunter Brown 4-1 with a 3.21 ERA on the road, 2-3, 4.12 ERA at home. So with both pitchers better on the road, I will take the pitcher that's actually playing on the road in this matchup. And it is worth noting Hunter Brown has already faced the Rangers once. He pitched 7 innings of no-run baseball against them this season. Now, to be fair, that was all the way back in April, so not exactly a recent game, but he has shown at least that he can work his way through this Rangers lineup. So with those road and away splits and some recent history from Hunter Brown against the Rangers, I will take the Astros as underdogs in this one. I'm going to assume they're probably going to be plus 130, plus 125, plus 120 underdogs. And you're right. Basic numbers like ERA and things like that, it seems to be pretty much a coin flip. It's going to be a pretty good pitching matchup. But with some of those splits, I kind of like the Astros in this spot as underdogs. So I will take the Astros in game 2 on Saturday.
I don't mind that at all. I think it's interesting. Eovaldi's made 16 starts this year, and they're 9-7 in his 16 starts, despite him having a sub-3 ERA. So it's not like a guarantee that they're going to win, even though he's pitched very well.
For sure. Yeah, that is surprising based on how good their offense has been. You would think with the top offense in baseball, with have a pitcher with that good of an ERA, that the record would be a lot better than what it is, but hasn't worked out that way. Let's move on to Sunday, which is a matinee matchup. The third of the 4 games in this series. Looks like it's going to be Valdez against Heaney, we assume. Obviously, the further we get into the series, the less likely these pitching matchups end up being correct. But if you base it off the rotation, then it looks like this is at least the most probable matchup. So Valdez against Heaney. Peter, what way are you going here with this one?
Yeah, so this one, I'm gonna take Houston in this one. So I agree with you. I actually think if we had some series odds in this one, I would debate sprinkling on the Astros to win this series too. I'll just throw that out there. But I'm gonna take the Astros in Game 3. This is a tough pitching matchup for Framber Valdez because Texas is number 2 in OPS against left-handers this year, but he has been arguably one of the most consistent pitchers in all of baseball for the last 2 seasons, thrown at least 6 innings in 14 of 16 starts. He's got a 2.49 ERA. And now he's facing a guy in Heaney who, you talk about people who are due for some regression. He's already kind of starting. He gave up 6 runs to a bad Detroit offense in his last outing. He's got a 5.10 FIP this year, and he's a fly ball pitcher who I think with him, if he doesn't have his best stuff, he is prone to getting blown up. And you look at his last 3 seasons, he's had an ERA higher than his current ERA is at the moment in 3 of the last 4 seasons. Last year was the outlier, and he missed a lot of time last season with injury. He's in the 29th percentile in expected ERA, 17th percentile in barrel percentage, 26th percentile in average exit velocity against. And the Astros have been solid against lefties. They're 13th in OPS against lefties. It's not like they're struggling mightily against those pitchers. So I think they win this game. I will bet on Valdez in any spot almost this year with how well he's pitched. And if we can get him as an underdog here, I think this is going to be closer to a pick'em probably than the Brown-Eovaldi matchup will be. But I could see the Astros being like plus 105, maybe plus 110 in this game. I love them to win this one.
I'm actually going to go the opposite way. So it's actually is kind of rare that we're on complete opposite sides for a game, but this is one of those rare instances. I'm actually going to take the Rangers in this game, and maybe they're underdogs in this game. It could be close to a pick 'em, but yeah, the odds are going to be relatively close one way or the other. But the big thing that I like is something that you did mention, Peter, and that's their numbers against lefties. Not only have they been, I believe you said second in OPS against lefties for the season, but over the last 30 days, specifically in the month of June, the best team against lefties, 895 OPS against lefties over the last 30 days. And that kind of shows up in Framber Valdez's last start against Texas, which did, to be fair, occur back in April 16th. But in that game, he gave up 4 hits, 5 runs. To be fair, only one of them was earned, but still 4 hits, 5 runs, and 2 walks in 6 innings pitched. So that start for Valdez against this lineup is a little bit concerning for me. And Valdez, another guy who he's actually worse on the road. So 3.23 ERA on the road compared to 2.05 ERA at home. His WHIP increases from 0.985 at home to 1.154 on the road. So I don't like fading Valdez very often, but I think there's a bit of writing on the wall here that he could struggle in this start. So I'm actually we're going head-to-head in this one. At least one of us is guaranteed to be right. No ties in baseball, so one of us will be right for this one. I'm going to go Rangers money line for Sunday's matchup.
This is the perfect one to use your DraftKings promo code on here, right here. This is if you're going to bet, use it on the Sunday game. Either ride with me, ride with Ian. You're going to come out a winner on at least one of us is going to come out a winner. You love to see that.
There you go. Promo code Baseball Insider.
There it is.
Sign up today, right now, immediately. All right, this is a 4-game series, so that means we do have a 4th game to talk about. Now we're talking way off in the future. Monday. It is a Monday afternoon matchup as well. I guess Monday is what do you guys call the holiday? Independence Day? Is that what July 4th is?
July 4th. But July 4th is Tuesday.
But that's Tuesday though, isn't it?
You're right. Yeah. So
but it is kind of part of a long weekend. I don't know how you Americans are treating this weekend, if you're taking Monday and Tuesday off and just having a 4-day weekend. Whatever, it's an afternoon matchup regardless. Javier against Perez, 2:05 p.m. Eastern opening pitch. Assuming this pitching matchup is going to happen, but who knows, it could change between now and then. But regardless, I am on a total in the side. Peter, you are on a side. Which side are you backing in this one?
Yeah, then I mentioned that I would like the Astros to win this series. I'm going to take them to win this game as well. Christian Javier this season, strong StatCast profile, 58th percentile in average exit velocity against, 71st percentile in hard hit percentage against, 55th percentile in whiff percentage, 73rd percentile in chase rate. Coming off a couple bad starts, I will 100%. He got roughed up by the Mets, got knocked around by the Cardinals, but I think this is a spot where he has a chance to turn it around. You look at last season, he faced the Rangers 5 times last season through 27 and a third innings, gave up just 9 earned runs in those starts. So pitched very well against them last year. A lot of the same bats back for Texas this season. So I don't mind taking him here. Perez, I'm very worried about. He's got an over 4 ERA coming into the start. I believe he has a 4.84 FIP, a 1.14 walks, hits per innings pitched. So has not been great this year. Last year he was an all-star, but he's in the 23rd percentile in expected ERA this season, 10th percentile in opponent batting average against. He's gotten knocked around a little bit. Mentioned the Astros haven't been bad against lefties, 13th in OPS. So I like Javier in this spot. I think he's the better pitcher to back. And then also, I mean, I think if this comes down to a battle of the bullpens in any of these games, the Astros have the massive advantage. They're 7th in bullpen ERA. Texas is 22nd. So in a game like this, where like maybe Javier doesn't have his best stuff, I still think him and Perez, it's relatively close. And then I give the edge to Houston big time once the bullpen comes into the game. So I like the Astros to win this one.
I'm going to take the over in this one on Monday. Javier, as you mentioned, I know he's had, for the most part, a pretty solid season, but 2 bad starts back-to-back. That's a little bit concerning. Obviously, you can certainly have a bounce-back game. I mean, to be fair, we're recording this on Thursday. The night before, I bet against Domingo Germán and the Yankees because he had allowed like 15 innings in his or 15 earned runs in his last 2 starts, and he goes out there and throws the first perfect game since like 2011.
Yeah, 2012.
So certainly a couple of bad starts recently doesn't mean that he's necessarily going to have a bad start again. And those Perez numbers you listed off certainly concerning, especially what sticks out to me is the 1.41 WHIP. That's terrible. But I think something that we should keep an eye on here heading into Monday, no matter who the starting pitcher matchup is going to be in this game, is I think the bullpens might get a little exhausted by the time Sunday comes around, because we're talking about a 4-game series between 2 division rivals. In a series that involves 2 of the better offenses in Major League Baseball. Obviously, the Rangers have the best offense in Major League Baseball. So at the end of a 4-game series, no days off in between, they might be scraping the barrel to get some relievers out there, or they might even have to stretch their starters out longer than they would like. So I think that might result in runs. I think that's kind of now that we're 4 or 5 days out from that game happening, that's kind of the storyline I'm focusing on the most. So I will take the over. I think that lends well for the over. So I will take the over, whatever it's set at for that game on Monday between the Rangers and the Astros.
I like that play. I like that quite a bit. I think the bullpen fatigue is an interesting thing to note, just because you're right. Like, especially I think for Houston, the thing that will worry me is game 1. Are they going to have to allow the bullpen with Blanco on the mound? But then you got to hope, if you're the Astros, between Brown and Valdez, you get some length in games 2 and 3 between them. And then, like, for the Rangers, my biggest concern would be the Heaney game, because like what's his stats going to be, and then how does that bleed into the Perez game? So yeah, I think it's a really good point.
So there you have it. Those are our picks for this weekend's Astros-Rangers game. I'm going over in game 1, Astros money line full game, game 2, Rangers money line full game in game 3, and then the over again in game 4. Peter, you've got the Rangers full game money line game 1, the full game under in game 2 on Saturday, the Astros full game money line on Sunday, and then the Astros money line on Monday as well. So there you have it. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like the video, the stream, subscribe to the channel. Robert and Adam will be back, I believe, at 3:30 p.m. Eastern today. If you're listening to this, rate and review the podcast. That's much appreciated. Peter, any final thoughts before we close things up for this long weekend?
Yeah, I got a hypothetical for you here. Since they're so close in the World Series odds, who would you rather have to win the World Series? Who would you bet on? between these two?
Great question. I think the Astros. I think the Astros just because they have the experience, and I don't fully trust the Rangers rotation. Especially, I mean, this is a guy who it doesn't look like is pitching in this series, but Dane Dunning, I do not think he's as good as his ERA indicates. I think the rotation is going to come back to haunt them once they get to the postseason. And you need a good rotation. It's hard to win a World Series based on offenses alone. And you got the Astros, who obviously have an experienced lineup, guys who've won it, obviously before. So yeah, I would take the Astros, but my opinion might change on that within a month.
I agree with you there. I agree. Texas has been very fun, obviously, because they score a ton of runs. I just think without DeGrom, like, I don't know. It's just like Eovaldi's been great this year, but like they go into a series, like they're going to be at the pitching disadvantage for at least games 1 and 2 against almost every team in the American League. Like, unless you're like overvaluing Nathan Eovaldi. Again, he's been great this year, but like he's traditionally been like a 3 or a 4 starter on most teams he's pitched on. So yeah, I think Houston would be the team, but they got to get healthy, man. They need some of those arms. They need Alvarez back. Like what they have right now is not enough to win a World Series, but I think, down the line, they could be healthy enough to do it.
I agree. To be honest, I don't think I'd bet on either team to win the World Series right now, but if I had to take one, I would take Houston.
I like that. That's a good point.
All right, there you have it. That's our show. Thank you so much for watching. Best of luck with all of your bets this weekend. Enjoy the holiday weekend, and we'll talk to you later.